Aloha, Rich Alverson here. This is ITS128. It's the first video. It's the first week of classes. It's the first class video. And so today I'd just like to start. I'll go over the syllabus. Let me share my screen. 3. Okay, can everybody see my screen? Okay, so someone type in the chat if they can see if my screen is being highlighted. Okay, good. Thank you. Very good. Thank you, Alyssa. All right. When you log into La Lima, you should see ITS128. If you don't see ITS128, you can click on Sites, and you should find it over here. Let's see. Let me pull up my student version so it looks more like what yours looks like. La Lima. So just so you know, so I'm in there as a student, and we can't see everybody, can we? Okay, but can you guys, can you not, you can't email it to anybody, can you? Oh, no, never mind. I click on this first. Okay, I'm in here as a student, and can we see, okay, we can see the roster. Oh, okay, maybe we can't see the roster. Yeah, maybe I have to enable that. But the only reason I tell you this is because if you want to have an email exchange with other students, and you don't want me to see it, then you can come in here, and when you click on everybody, you got to make sure you take. Wait, am I in here? Oh, I should be in here. How can I? Oh no, I'm not in here because this is me. But when you go in there, you should be able to. You won't see yourself, but you would see me, and so then you can so you can unclick me, you know, and that way you can have conversations between yourselves, and I won't see. So in case you want to, talk stink about me or something. But no, I encourage you to communicate amongst yourselves. One thing, I do have a forum here, and so I would like you all to, if you have questions on anything, and you think for any reason the rest of the class might benefit from the answer to that question, even if it's some program that you're trying to get running and you're stuck, if you post it here, then anybody else who has that problem, they may see it, or if they see it before they have the problem, they're likely not to have the problem if that is encountered, and that kind of thing can happen later on. So you can categorize them here as a syllabus question or video topics question. So for example, I'm a student here, and so I might post up. I can't remember if I did this before in this class, but if, let's say you want to say, no, I must not, because otherwise I would see it there. Syllabus question, midterm or final. Okay, so I can say, hi, maybe you want to address it to me. Or hi, professor. I didn't notice any midterm or final on the syllabus, and I'm going to be supposed to be syllabus. Are we having either? And so that's a very reasonable question. You post it, and that's a question that other people would certainly benefit by the answer. And then I come along, and I go to forums. I'm in 128, and I see, oh, there's an unread syllabus question. And so I go in here and I click on it, and oh, look, this guy asked this question. First of all, I'll mark it as read, and then I'll say, good question. Because every question is a good question, even if it's a repeat question. It's still a good question. No, there will not be a midterm or a final in this class this semester. All right, so that's the answer, and I posted up there, and now everybody has the benefit. But the thing is if you ask a question, or if you participate in this forum, there's two forums, right? Oh, there's the raise your hand and ask forum, and if you participate in this forum, then you can get extra credit. Okay, so if you look over at Gradebook Classic, you'll see that there's an extra credit thing here, the raise your hand forum. Also for course evaluation, I'll tell you more about that when the time comes. But what I'm really interested in the course evaluation is the so-called efficacy, or the efficiency and effectiveness of these types of this type of forum to replace, face-to-face. The intention of this forum is to it's student-initiated activity between students and faculty. So this is like asking a question in class, and you initiate the communication. Because in distance, in online asynchronous classes, we have to pay special attention to the interaction, because there's not hardly any opportunities for it. And so so our accreditation folks pay special attention. So that's what this is for. Down here, while we're here, there's another forum which is actually part of your assignment. Part of your assignments, it's like I can't remember, it could be like 10% or something. And what this forum does, the purpose of this forum is to just to get you to think about Python in the real world, or programming and programming in Python in other areas. Most of you, if you continue on as a programmer, and you get a degree in programming, or let's say you just become good at programming and you go out and get a job, and you happen to write programs at your job, they aren't going to be writing programs about Python. They aren't going to be. It's not going to be the new edition or the new module for Python programmers. It might be, but probably not. You're probably going to be in some other field, and you're going to use Python as a tool to be able to find the answers, do research, and find answers that you want. And so with this forum, the intention of this forum is wanting you to basically just do a Google search on this, do a Google search on Python and data analytics, and read what the first 5 things say. There's usually a thing that pops down and answers some common questions on your search. And so I'd like you to think a little bit about Python in healthcare. There's Python's used all over the place in healthcare, nursing, EMS, lots of things that other majors at KCC are in other fields of other majors that we offer here at KCC. Hospitality, for sure. Scheduling, that's perfect Python program. And then Python and machine learning. Python is a good programming language to write machine learning programs in. In fact, Python is a good programming language to write any kinds of things in, because it's so easy to write these modules, these add-on modules for Python that add all kinds of power to Python and helps Python interface to all kinds of things. And but in machine learning, you want the machine to learn. You give the machine an input and an expected output, and then you do that a bunch of times, and the machine inside learns how to derive from all the examples that you give it, the outcome from an input, and that's machine learning. And then you can use machine learning for things like stock, predicting the stock market, so on, securities and so on, and it is used a lot for that. And then you even see Python and culinary, where based on ingredients and certain things, you create recipes. You make the machine learn how to produce good recipes that taste food that tastes good, and they're actually doing that, and it actually works. But anyway, you'll find out that, and you only have to write a couple paragraphs. Just I don't want you to spend more than a half an hour on each of these. Google it, read about it, write a couple paragraphs, and that's it. All right, so that's the forums. If we go back to the syllabus, there's the YouTube playlist, and there's an introduction to this class up there already, and it's only 10 minutes. But I'm gonna sort of kind of assume that it's only 13 minutes. I'm gonna kind of assume that you've watched this already. It's okay, you can watch it if you haven't. And all I do is I go and I explain just all the stuff here in the on Laulima. So you can go through that. And I explain the calendar and how to, my office hours and so on. And so you can watch the introductory video for that. Today, I'd like to just get started with the textbook. And so after you've signed up, you should be able to log into the textbook like this, and it's just the video. This first video. Has anybody watched it? Maybe no one's even watched it. I don't see. Oh, 7 people have watched it. That's good. Nice. Okay. So there I am. Yeah, there you go. All right. So the main thing I want to reiterate is that, and people are going to wonder about this, there are deadlines posted here, but really these are just recommended deadlines. If you go past these deadlines, I'm not going to take off any points. You just have to make sure you do it. The reason I can do this, and I can't do this in other classes, and why a lot of other classes can't do this, is because in this class, everything except the forums is auto-graded. In other words, if you finish it at the last minute, if you finish it 1 minute before I go in and download the grades, which I'm not going to do till the very end, after finals week, I'm going to download all the grades and pop them in Laulima one last time, and we see what grade Laulima calculates for you. It's all calculated. It's all weighted and everything. But don't get behind. It's not good to get behind. The other thing is that I get you started on practically everything. The hard part in this class is going to be these labs. If you look at the, I can show you which ones have the labs in them this way, and the green is the labs. And so if we look at this if we start by chapter 1 and we pop this down over here, these are all labs. These are all programming assignments, and I'm going to want to get through some of these today. By the way, I see somebody asked, what's deep? So what's deep learning more utilized for? Google it and answer. Which question? Answer the machine learning question. That's what that's all about. It's kind of hard to grasp this concept of machine learning, because you end up using these modules that have fancy mathematical names, and there's there's algorithms and equations and so on in there that have been studied by these mathematical experts. And they are different ways where you present it with an input and an output, and you do it 100,000 times. And then after that, the thing knows so much about inputs and outputs, the relationship between the inputs and outputs, that you can just give it any old input and it'll give you an output. And so there is research in those algorithms for machine learning and deep learning. You can work on that, but more likely you will be somebody, if you get into that and you're coming at it from this direction, is you'll just learn a lot about all of the deep learning algorithms. You become an expert in the variety and how to characterize them, but you might not be the person that goes down there and figures out the nth order differential equation that is, gets you closer to the correct answer. So, but anyway, that I don't want to get sidetracked too much here. So the first, in this chapter, the first 1 through 6 are important because it's sort of, if you aren't super familiar with programming yet, it really gets your mind set in the right place for it. 1.7 through 1.11 is pretty interesting. Talks about computers in general. It's a history of languages a little bit, and why white space matters in Python, and it doesn't so much in other languages and so on. But so programming, in programming, we're writing programs, and a program consists of input, of course, and then a process which does something with that input. And then when it's all done, there's an output that's presented that presumably provides some answer based on the input. And so a basic computer program, for example, the first thing you do is you get the input, and then you do this processing part, and then you output the output here. These participation exercises, I'm going to step back here. These are how you get points. Here's a participation activity. And so how do you get the points? Well, you just do it. Okay. Here's a program. Okay. First it executes that, which somebody types in a 2, and so now X has a value 2. Somebody types in another value, and Y gets that value. It's 5. And then we process it. It does the calculation, calculates Z. So Z is there. These are variables. This is the memory, the memory over here. And so now Z has 7 in it. And then the last thing is it executes this last one, which outputs to the screen. Okay, once that's done, then this checkbox appears. It was there already because I'd done this earlier. And so, and that's what gives you the points. So for all these participation activities, you just have to go through and do them. And you just do them until you get them right. If you click the wrong answer, it'll tell you why it's wrong. You click the next one, if it's right or wrong. If it's wrong, it tells you why it's wrong. And then in this case, there's only 3 answers, so you click the third one, and then that's obviously right. So this goes on. These participation activities here, after this animation, this checks to make sure that you understand what you did. And so consider the example. The program has how many instructions? So it looks like it has 4. Okay, but let's say you just didn't get it. You don't understand the question. Well, you can just click this a couple times and go, oh, 4. Oh, there's 2. And go, oh, that's what they mean by instructions. Okay, well, the answer is 4. Well, then you just put a 4 here, and you click that, and then you get the points. See? So that's why these participation. This is really a comfortable, easy way of learning. You just have to get through it, and it doesn't matter how many times you stumble. If you get to the end, you get credit. You get all the credit that you get if you were to get all the answers right the first time. Of course, if you get all the answers right the first time, then you get through faster. And there's sort of feel proud if you got through but you know, there's enough ambiguity in these questions, so don't think that you're going to get them all right all the time. I usually, in a lecture like this today, I'll probably get one or two wrong. All right, suppose a new instruction were inserted as follows. So the new instruction is adding 1 right after here. So there's one more instruction, which would be z equals z plus 1. Okay, like that. And so then what would the last instruction output be? So if we're adding 1 to 7, then that'd be 8. Well, so I think the answer is 8, if I understand this correctly. And it is 8. Okay, great. Consider this instruction. If x is 10 and y is 20, then what is z? Well, 10 plus 20 equals 30. So z would be 30. All right, so a program is like a recipe, and you know, this is such a good analogy that because you know, for a recipe, you have to be, you know, as explicit as you need to be, so there's little enough ambiguity where the recipe will work all the time. Now, you know, you mix 1 stick of butter and 1 cup of sugar. Well, if you put a heaping cup of sugar, and you only have you take a stick of butter and you butter your toast before you use it, and then okay, so it's not quite a stick. It's still going to work out okay, but you know, if you leave out the butter, then you're really messed up. If you only have half a stick of butter, well, maybe you should just do half a recipe and you know, half a cup of sugar and somehow do half an egg or something. Anyway, so now there aren't really any loops or anything, but if you think about it, you could have a loop in a recipe where if you're waiting for the oven you're waiting for it to be done cooking, and you know, so you'd have a loop where you check the timer, you know, you check the oven, you know, or maybe you want to preheat the oven. I don't usually preheat my oven when I cook stuff, but let's say you want to preheat the oven. Well, you could have a loop in there where you wait 1 minute and then you look to see what the temperature is, and you wait 1 minute, look to see what the temperature is, and you keep on doing that until finally the temperature hits what you want it to be preheated at, and then you would continue on in the recipe. So anyway, we're actually going to write a program, and here we're assigning m the value 5. We're going to put it out. We're going to print it out, and then we're going to do this calculation, and we're going to print it out, and then we're going to do this calculation, print it out, and then we're going to do this calculation, print it out. And so you notice for this calculation here, it's like m equals m times 2. Well, so it's not really. This is not really an equation like in algebra. What this is there's an expression on the right-hand side of the equal sign. You evaluate that expression, you calculate it out, and then you store that result in the left-hand side. So on the left-hand side, there's always just going to be one variable. Okay, there's always just going to be a repository. There's going to be a place where you put something into. You put a value in there. You store something in there. On the right side is going to be an expression, and it can be anything. It could be just a number, but it could be some big, long, huge expression that has to be all calculated out before you can actually complete and finish this. So if we run the program, we see this work. You know, first we assign, this is the memory up here, and then we multiply it by 10, by 2, then we multiply it by itself, and then we add 15 to it, and we end up with the final value of m equals 115. And then there's an exercise here where can you make the output be greater than 500 by rearranging these things, by doing something first before the other. Yes, you can. So you can fiddle with it, but basically the most powerful instructions here is like this is the most powerful instruction. So you want to have m as high as it can be before you get to this one, because then you're multiplying it by itself, and then m gets really big. 2 will double M, and this will only add 15. It doesn't matter what M is here. You're only going to add 15 to it. If it's you want it to be bigger, the bigger it is, the more. So anyway, you would do this one first, and then this one second, this one third, and I bet you'd get above 115 or close to 1,000. So you can try that. So if I put this up here and run it, you see it comes out a different answer. Different answer. All right. So here, this just helps you understand that which instruction completes the program to compute the triangle. Oh no, this is a different. This is different. Okay, so this has to do with instructions. Okay, so and an algorithm or a program. Which instruction completes the program to compute a triangle's area? Okay, so a triangle is the area of a triangle is it's base times height divided by 2. That equals area. Base times height divided by 2. So it's so first you got to get the base, then you get the height, and you assign x to base times height. Oh, and then we got to divide x by 2, I guess. So yeah, so that'd be this. Multiply x by 1/2. That's the same as dividing by 2, multiplying it by 1/2. Okay, so this is the answer. Well, what happens if I say this answer? Oh, rats, nope. What about this one? Ah, shoots, must be this one then. And yes, it is. 1/2 times base times height. Just as an aside here, the difference between a programmer and a math person is that the math person is expected to come up with this equation. Okay, the programmer is expected to take this equation and turn it into one line of code. Okay, so that's, and you know, this one's pretty easy, but sometimes these like you know, quadratic formula or these, you know, equations with a bunch of, you know, square roots and exponents and expressions as exponents and so on. And you know, what you have to practice is how to take that and turn it into an actual line of programming with parentheses, and an exponent is like 2 asterisks and so on. All right, instruction completes what instruction completes the program to compute the average of 3 numbers? Okay, so yeah, so you get 3 numbers and then you divide by the number of. So it'd be this one. Okay, first, you know, to figure out the average of 3 numbers, you add them up and then you do, well, to figure out the average of n numbers, you add them up and then you divide by n. You divide by the number of numbers. So for 3, the divisor would be 3. So anyway, so here, this is a term, computational thinking, and mathematical thinking became increasingly important in the industrial age, but now it's computational thinking. The difference is mathematical thinking is like knowing this. You know, you're gonna build a house, and you need to draw up the plans, and then you need to draw it up, and then you need to figure out, you know, how much wood you need or whatever, the measurements. And so there's all these equations, and you're going to be using stuff like this, and so on. But this computational thinking is the sequence of things to get something done. So you know, computing is programming is the steps, the individual steps themselves are simple. But when you look at a programming statement, yeah, that's easy. Yeah, you know, that's easy. I know what that means. But it's putting them together in a way that solves a problem that is what computational thinking is. And so here, this is an example of a program where you're actually, you know, these are all the things that you can do. For this one, you enter in a number. So here's the program to draw a triangle. This pen down. Okay, I'll just run it. Pen down, then you go forward 100, left 120 degrees, forward 100, left 120 degrees, forward 100, and you end up back where you started from. So the trick is how do you do a square? Well, I think it's probably, let me clear it. Does that work? No. Okay, pen down, forward 100, left 90. Yeah, right, left 90. And I want to put that one up. Let me get rid of this. Get this up here. And then you need another left 90. And that can go, let me get rid of this left 120. Put that here. Forward 100. Okay, so what does this do? Okay, so then you have to do one more left 90 and one more forward 100, and you get this, and that's a square. So anyway, that's computational thinking. Okay, so here's Python. So there's the Python interpreter, and the way the Python interpreter works is you just type in lines of code one at a time, and the interpreter remembers, or it does the statement, and like for this case, this says create a variable called wage and store the value 20 into it. This is create a variable called hours and allocate a variable called hours and store 40 into it. And this is weeks, store 52 into a variable called weeks. And then create a variable called salary and multiply, this variable times this variable times this variable, and then print that out. And then this thing prints out. So these arrow things that's the Python interpreter. Now, I think it'd be really a good idea if everybody goes to python.org, if you haven't done this already. Actually, I think if you have a Mac, you already have Python on your Mac. I think it's python.org. But if you have Windows, you probably don't have it. So go here and then you download download the latest, and we're doing Python 3 in this class. There's Python 2 and there's Python 3. On the Mac, you might only have Python 2. The Mac uses Python for a lot of its stuff, so it's got Python in there. But anyway, if you don't have Python 3, then you probably want to download it. But so I've got Python 3 on my computer. I can go, I just get a command prompt, CMD, and here's my command prompt, and it's free. The download is free. Everything's free. So where am I? I'm in. How do I get to my? All right, I'm going to go to CD OneDrive, and then where am I? Is there a desktop? Oh, CD desktop. Okay. Why? I just want to, in case I save any files or anything. What's on here? Is this empty? Yeah, my stuff. Okay, so I can say Python, Python, and now I'm in Python, and I'm in Python 3. Oh, okay. Oh, good. I must have changed. Do I still have? Okay, so to exit, I got to go exit, and it's a Python. It's a call to a program. It's a call to a method. So anyway, I got to put the left right parentheses, and then I'm out of here. What can I do? Python? Do I have Python 2? No, I don't. Python 3. Oh, my Microsoft Gaming Store thing just opened up. I don't want to do. Okay. Well, I used to have Python 2 on here, but I don't know. I think when I was messing around one day, I think I changed it. I changed Python is now Python 3, which is fine. Okay, that's better anyway. So this is where we are right here. So if I do something like let me put this over here, put this down here, and put this over here. So I can go, so here I am. All right, so you can see this down here. Okay, so I'm going to say wage. What's going on? Oh, wage equals, and they always put these spaces. I don't believe in spaces. Wage equals 20, and I can always do print wage. See, it's 20, and I can do hours equals 40, and weeks equals 50 to 52, and then I can say salary equals wage times hours times weeks, and it still doesn't say, but now when I print salary, I get what they get. Okay, so and then the other thing you can do is you can open up an editor, and it doesn't matter what kind of editor. I think maybe this is Notepad. Everybody's got Notepad. And if you actually put these in here, wage equals 20, and hours equals 40, and weeks equals 52, and salary equals wage times hours, times hours times weeks, and I say print salary. So now this is a Python program, and I'm going to save it as wages.py. Okay, and where's wages.py? Here it is, and it's that because I usually use a different kind of editor. But anyway, here we are, wages.py. And then I can go over here and I can say, let me exit out of here. And I can say, Python wages.py, and it executes and it outputs prints out the answer. So anyway, that's what they're showing you here. So we saw what the interpreter was. Okay, so a program that executes the computer code, it's called the interpreter. And then the text that represents the computer program is called the code. And informs the programmer that the interpreter is ready to accept commands. I guess that's a prompt. Okay. Yeah. All right. So anyway, and then a line is a line of text. Okay. So so here it says entering line by line is can be humbug, and so you can write it all in a file, and that's what I showed you. Statements. There's statements here, 1, 2, 3, whatever, 5 statements. Expressions are the right side of, these are called assignment statements. They assign values. They assign values to variables. And the right side of an assignment statement is an expression, and the left side is a variable. That's what they're explaining here. Here we have our program. So anyway, it's possible to put this whole thing in here as a program. Save. And if we run it again, salary is this, new salary is that, just like this. All right. What is the purpose of variables? To store values for later use. Yes, that's what it is. That's an expression. It's true that this is an expression. You calculate and it provides a single value. You can put it someplace. How are most Python programs developed? Where they are mostly developed by writing code in files. That is this way, okay, not this way. Okay, so that's writing code in files. And comments are required in a program. No, comments are not required, but it's always a good idea. There's no comments in this program. So where does it say comments? Okay. Well, when we get to some comments, you'll see what they look like. But if you want to make a comment, you can go something like you start it with a hashtag. Assign initialize variables. Okay, calculate salary. You know, output salary, whatever. Those are comments, and they can also go here. You could put the comment here if you want to. So anyway, and this should still run fine. Let's confirm that. Why is it giving me a hard time? Okay, boom. I don't know why. Anyway, yeah, see, it doesn't make any difference. This is a nice thing here that Zybooks offers, where it actually like runs it in the browser, you know. So like we can just run this and look, it runs. See, so what happens if we make the hours 30 hours, and then we make it where the guy makes $40 an hour? What happens? Okay, well, he gets more the first time, and so anyway, so see this now. This little system here has issues which we can which we'll see later, and they're actually working on it, but I'll show that to you when we get into input. Are we going to get into that next? Let's see. It's 12:14. This is how you do outputs. We know how to do outputs. It's with the print. By the way, so this particular participation activity here, we're learning how to print, you know, just plain old text. It's like here, salary is, and then print. Then you do the salary. New salary is, and then it's a salary, and you can enclose a string in either single quotes or double quotes, and that's what this is explaining: is double quotes or single quotes. Here you're supposed to. This is pretty important in programming, and if this is difficult for you, well, actually, you'll get good at it. And that is looking at these three things and being able to pick which one is the right one. Okay, now, okay, so first of all, you have to know that if you're just printing out a string, if you want to print these exact characters, then they have to be in quotes. So there's no quotes here, so that's got to be wrong. If welcome was a variable, then that would work as a variable, but a variable cannot have an exclamation point. So this is going to be wrong in a lot of ways. This one here, you should quickly notice that there's a single quote on this side and a double quote on that side, so they're mismatched, and so you should immediately notice that. So it's obviously not that one, and so the answer is this one. Usually in editors, not in this editor, but in some other editor, which is which is Python aware. Let's see, do I have another editor that's, well, usually the editor will identify a problem like this where the quotes don't match up. But anyway, so you want to pay attention to that. Okay, so here's one of these challenge activities. Challenge activities are different than participation exercises. This would be print. Hello. And so it can be that, or it can be a single quote also. So here's a challenge activity. Now, for a challenge activity, you have to do it until you get it right. Okay, so write the simplest statement that prints the following. Well, you know, you can do we do the equal sign? Oh, no, we don't do it. Printing, do we? Okay, well, anyway, all right, so simplest thing would just be print quote 3 space 2 space 1 space go exclamation point. Yeah. So that's white space, blank spaces, blank line matters. Make sure your white space exactly matches the expected output. Okay, so I think it does. 1, 1, 1. Yeah. So if I didn't match it up right, what happens if I put 2 there? What happens? Run. Oh, bung. See, so it tells me exactly what I did wrong. And I didn't get the points. So let me just get rid of that. And I'll run it again. And I get the points, and all tests pass. There's only one test. So I got those points. Very good. Write the following figure with asterisk. Do not add spaces after the last character. Okay, so I'm supposed to do this. Okay, well, there's 2 print statements. There's print, and then there's print. Okay, so we're printing this line, copy, paste, and we're printing this line, copy, paste. And then we're going to print the first line again, and the second line again, and the first line again. So I'm going to do this. What if I just do this? Copy, paste, paste, and then got to get rid of this last one. Okay, so you know, that'll work. It should work. Run. Now this interpreter thing, it actually does compare the answer, because you can write out. Let's see if we can do something else here. Let's see if this works. If you do quotes, I think you can see if this works. \n that. And I want to do 2 of these. Oh. So \n is an actual return. It goes on to the next line. So this should print the first 2 lines, and then the third, the fourth, and the fifth. Does this work? Do I get all the credit? Oh wait, I do get all the credit because the output's the same. So I can actually do something like this. I can do and can't hit that there. Now in many programming languages, it has to be double quotes for the \n to work. So let's see if, first of all, let's see if this works. It does work. Got all the tests. But in Python, I think when you're using the \n, I think it still works with single quotes. See, in many other programming languages, there is a difference between double quotes and single quotes. You know, subtle difference, but Not sure. I'm not sure. I can't remember in Python. Ah, it works. Okay, so single quotes seems to be just exactly the same as double quotes. All right. So so anyway, and the point is that when you come across these challenge exercises, or you come across anything like the labs, you know, really it's looking for the right answer because it runs your program by putting certain inputs there and expecting certain outputs. And however you get those outputs, it's okay. You know, it's valid. So it's not like they're trying to force you to do something a certain way. There are cases where they try to do that, but they make the problem question such that you can only, the only right answer is the way you want to do it. All right, so so why don't you read about errors and development environments? I've shown you that we can do this development environment, and we're probably going to I may show you a Visual Studio Code later in the semester, but on a Mac it looks like this, and on Windows it looks like this. So, all right, so it's 12:22. I want to get started with some of these labs here, and I guess I don't need to see this anymore. Okay, so here's the first lab. I think this might be just a dumb, simple program. Okay, go to the default. Assignment is to get an integer from an input and output that integer squared, ending with a new line. So you were supposed to read in an integer. I think this is just okay. So you read in an integer. Oh, I see. You're supposed to square it, and this is not squaring it. This is just multiplying it by 2, and then this prints it out again. So we're in development mode. So when we run the program, okay, and this is the other thing that you gotta know. This is expecting an input. Have we talked about inputs yet? I don't know. This is the thing that where you request an input, and so this is where you would put what that input is. Okay, so first of all, if we run this now, there's no input. See, we didn't put anything there. Run this, it's probably going to say no input or something. No input. Error. So this didn't work because there wasn't anything there to read. Okay, so let's put something. Let's put a 5 there. Okay, and then let's run the program. See, the answer is 10. And so it takes the 5, adds 5 plus 5 equals 10, and then it outputs 10. And this end thing means it ends it on the same line. If this were not there, it would put a return at the end of the line. Anyway, oh, are we not supposed to have that? Maybe we're not supposed to have that. Well, ending with a new line. Okay, this does not end with a new line. So we have to remove this. We have to make this a multiply. So what happens if we just submit this? I'm just going to submit it and see what I get. Okay, see, this is what I got wrong. Okay, 2 plus 2 is the same as 2 times 2. So that part didn't fail. But what did fail is there's supposed to be a return, a new line. And see, that's the new line symbol. But we didn't have that here. So this failed. Here, 12 times 12 is 144. It was expecting 144. It only got 24, which is 12 plus 12. Okay, so same thing. And minus 5 times minus 5 should be plus 25. And so anyway, so we got all those things wrong, and we didn't get any points. So let's fix this. So I'm going to fix this. I'm going to put the times there and submit this for grading. I'm still going to get it wrong. So the number is correct. Do I get any points for this? No, I didn't get any points for that. Anyway, so let's take this off. That's what they want you to do. How about this? Instead. See what happens. See if it accepts this. That should have worked. Anyway, so I'm gonna get rid of this, get rid of this. That's really what they want. Okay, and see, I got all the points. Now, now I'm not done yet. I have to actually submit it. So I gotta, oh no, yes, oh no, I'm sorry. I did submit this. Normally what you would do is you would do all that in development mode. And then when you're finally sure you got the right answer, then you do submit mode and then submit for grading. And what this is this is called a signature of your work. This gives a history of how many times I tried. So I tested it once, and then I started submitting, and I didn't get any points. I submitted again, didn't get any points. Submitted again, didn't get any points. And then finally I submitted, and I got 3 points, and then I'm done. I started on August 24th, and I ended on August 24th. And so this is something that I can see. And if I were to, for example, if I were to require you to do all of your development in this thing, and then I would expect to see, you know, some work there as you're getting to your answer. And if I don't see this some sort of signature there, if I just see you submitted it and it was correct, and then for all these you submit and it's correct, if I see that and I insist that you do your development in here, then I would be suspicious that you're just getting the answers from someplace. The thing about it is I'm not going to insist that you do your development in here. You may very well want to do your development outside. You know, like you may want to first confirm that this works out here. And I'm just going to paste this here. I'm going to still call it wages just because I want to be quick here. And then I go like this. I bring up the command, and then I execute this. And it's sitting there because it wants me to input something. So I'll input 5, and then I press enter, and then it outputs 25 because 5 times 5 is 25, and it does a new line. So anyway, so you know, you may want to get it working outside because the development environment is better. You know, this is a lousy development environment if you're writing a complex program. Forget it. You know, you want to go to, you know, something more professional. You know, I mean more professional than this. Visual Studio Code is a good one. But anyway, so that's how these labs work, and we're at the end. I may next time go through a couple more of these, but these are pretty simple. You should be able to get these working. And we're at the end. Do you have any questions? Does anybody have any questions? Okay, if not, okay, so make sure that let me share my screen again. If you want to come to these things, if you want to be sure you are able to see, if you want me to schedule these video sessions around when you can join, then make sure you go to this here, it's up here. Go to syllabus cansit.in, and this is my program. I wrote this, and you put your you log in, and if you're registered for the class, then you should be in here. What is it? You put in your 8-digit UHID, and you can go in and check off when you would be able to attend. And so what I do is I have something like, I have a scheduler that looks like this. And so this is everybody that signed up in that class, and this is this class, and this is my other class, and not too many people are signed. But here, so what I do is then, okay, so I made this schedule of this day when I think only I was signed up. No, I think one other person might have. No, I think I was the only one that signed up. So there was nobody else. There was nobody there. So I just made it for this time. But in the future now, since there's people here, what I'm going to do is is this down here tells me, like, if I just gonna have the class 1 period per week, this is how many people are covered and how many people are excluded. See, 5 covered, 6 excluded. If I go 2 per week, if I do 3 per week, then so far I got it. I guess I have to go to 4. How many? Oh, there's 11. Okay, so if I go to, okay, so there's no time until I get to 4 per week where I would get everybody so far. So what I would do in that case, so what I'll do is I will, you know, maybe do this, do one of these, and kind of remember. And then next week I will do another pair that gets everybody else. Okay, so that I should be able to do that. Or I might just schedule it where I do one of these where I get everybody. And the first week I do it. This day, this Monday, and this Tuesday, and then the next week I do it this Monday and this Tuesday or something. But anyway, but it's completely optional. Most people are just gonna watch the video. So when this is done, I'm gonna you know, it'll process, and then I'm gonna upload it to YouTube, and you'll see it as the second video here on the playlist. All right, so we're done, and thank you for coming today. So many people came today, and I will see you next week. Thanks for watching.